Now, joining us in the studio to share her perspective as a former spoiled child, we have Kiran Kaur. Welcome, Kiran.
Hello.
Glad to have you back in the studio. For some of you who are regulars, you know that Kiran she's a familiar face on our set. Glad to have you today. Now, Kiran, something that Naomi mentioned, which I found very interesting, was the different ways that parents can spoil children. You can spoil them with love, you can spoil them with gifts. How were you spoiled as a child?
I think materialistic things, like especially when I was younger, I was very like wanting the latest gadget, latest toy that was out at that time. But then also at home, she would try and overcompensate things, like things that I wanted to eat. Like I wanted that day, and I would throw a tantrum if I didn't get it that day. Or she made something like she wanted to make, but I didn't want that, and then she had to make something else. So in those sort of things, I was quite spoilt in that sense.
And when did it first dawn on you? When did you first realize that you were spoiled?
Obviously, when you're younger, you don't realise you're spoiled, because I was the only child. So I just thought,
that makes a lot of sense.
So I think for me, I didn't realise I was spoiled until I was a bit more older, but obviously, like my cousins, like they used to grow up with. They used to say to me, "Oh, you're so spoiled. Like you always get your own ways, your own things." Like I was always, as I said, the materialistic things. Like at that time, I would get it straight away, and my family would say like, "Why are you making your mum buy all these things that she can't afford these things?" Like, 'cause my mum wasn't working, but I wouldn't care. I was just like, "No, because I want them. I think I deserve them." So, and I think. At that time, I obviously now realise my mum was trying to overcompensate because I was the only child, and because she had mental health. So for her, she felt guilty. So I think she was trying to cover that with things in general. Even though she couldn't afford it, she would just try and make a way. She would not ask my family, "Oh, can you get that for Kiran?" It was Barbie dolls. I remember my uncle used to like buy me for Christmas like Barbie dolls, and I was just like, okay, how come my uncle knows this? I don't tell him that. But obviously, because my mum just felt that, because she deserves it, she needs it. I think that's when, as I got older, I realised I was very spoilt.
I was going to ask you, Kiran, how did you go from someone who was spoilt to now standing on your own 2 feet?
I think, because, as I said, because my mum had mental health, I think that made me mature quite quickly. So from the age of 11, I was already a young carer from the age of 7. But by that time, when I reached age 11, I realised that my mum is like, she's buying loads of things that I don't need, that I don't, she's struggling. So I just because I became a carer, so I was had to make sure that the bills are paid. So I started to realise, okay, these materialistic things. When you're young, because I was just going into secondary school at the time, so I knew the latest designer clothes. All the my friends are buying designer clothes, latest trends, and I felt no, I don't need it. I don't. That's when I did realise, okay, I don't need these materialistic things. That's when I started to stand on my own 2 feet.
Okay, that's good. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's really interesting. And it's interesting also that you mentioned that you became a carer at a very young age, and it would mean that is the end of being spoiled, getting your way. So how did you learn to fend for yourself? Because you were giving to your mother. You were giving, but what about yourself?
Like I said, it was because I had to mature quickly. I have to grow up quite quickly at that age. I just felt for her. So I started working at a very young age, even though it was, and you're not supposed to be working at the age of 16. I tried to, the pocket money that she used to give me, I told Mum, just keep it for the bills. She just couldn't understand why all of a sudden I decided to not make her buy all these things. I remember she bought me a bike to surprise me, because it took a long while for her to save up for the bike. So, and I was like, "Mum, I don't need these things." And she goes, "No, you're my daughter. You're my only child." So she did feel like she needed it. But I was like, "Look, Mum, I don't need these things. I can fend for myself. I can, like, I don't, you know, need to all these things. And then obviously as I got older, I realized, I explained to Mum, like, look, thank you for like all the things you tried to like buy me and that, but I really don't need it. And then as you do get older, you just realize that, you know, all these materialistic things you just don't need.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Kiran. I think it helps viewers out there learn to identify, at the very least, whether or not they're being spoiled or not. So what is the feedback that you're getting? Kiran used to get feedback from her cousins that she was spoiled. She never used to think she was, but her cousins, people around her would always comment that she was being spoiled. So what has been the feedback that you have been getting from the people around you? Are people around you complaining that you're a spoiled brat? So that definitely, not definitely, but that likely means that you are. And once you realize that you are a spoiled brat, what do you do? Put yourself in the shoes of your parents, right? Put yourself in the shoes of your parents, like Kiran started doing. She started understanding her mom. She started understanding the other side of the coin, which is paying the bills. Where is this money coming from that's buying all these things that I'm asking from my mom? Where is this money coming from? How hard is she working? You know, and what else has she to sacrifice in order to give me the things that I need? So Kiran has definitely given you a lot of insight. Thank you so much for being with us, Kiran. Thank you so much. So we're going to take a short break, and after the break, we'll be continuing more with the making of a spoiled brat. And here's a sneak peek of what's coming up next after the break. Learn how the Greeks relax at Safos Meze.
Now, you will tell me that the people today, they're running behind their career, they want to make money, whatever, they don't have time. I think they can find easily time to look after their health.